Okay. Is it okay? Is it okay?
I don't have any.
Ah, sorry.
It's a help to which was showing.
Sorry. Let me share it. Okay. Setting up. Setting up. Setting up. Okay, so Joel will be with you in a minute. He'll be creating pie charts. Okay, see you in a bit. Yep, a mass study, understand, apply. So that's our slogan. We want to teach maths not just because we are teaching maths, but we want our audience to understand the concepts we are teaching. We want them to be able to study it very rigorously. That's why we do a lot of examples, and we want them to apply it. So we know that not everyone who is watching us will end up as a mathematician like us. So some of you will be engineers, will be astronauts, you will be fashion designers, you will be, yeah, whatever you aspire to be. But we believe mathematics is a foundation of most things. So you understanding it well will translate to you being an excellent professional in your field. Okay, so Joel is up for your lesson.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome once again to the math lessons. Today we are teaching something very, very important and significant, and it's about pie charts. Yeah, like Angie mentioned earlier, pie charts. So one thing I know is that people generally don't like numbers. So anytime you give them anything that deals with a lot of numbers, they just get scared. Like, what the hell is, oh, sorry, what is this? These numbers look so complicated. People don't even know what to extract out of it or something like that. But the moment you try converting these numbers into something like a picture to them, okay, then everybody is happy. So basically, that is what this whole thing is going to be about. So today we are treating one of such pictures, and we call it the pie chart. Okay, so our objective for today is that by the end of this lesson, we are going to know how to represent information on a pie chart. And then two, how to calculate the sectors of a pie chart. And then three, how to derive numbers or statistic from a given pie chart. Okay, so these three things are what you are going to consider today. So you are basically going to look at how to represent any information at all and a pie chart, and then how to calculate the sectors of a pie chart. And then if the pie chart is already given to you, how do you derive certain things out of it? Okay. So some of the keywords that we'll be coming across today, we include data, information, fractions, sector, and then let me say circle. Okay, so these are basically what should help us come up with this pie chart. Okay, so let me try explaining them one after the other. So when we talk about data, what do we mean? So assuming I come to a class and then I say that, oh, everybody should get up and tell me their ages. And then let's say I have this thing here. So this is name and this is age. So the first person gets up, the name is Kofi, and Kofi tells me he is 12 years. Then the next person, let's say Ama says she is 13. And then let's say we have Kojo is also 13. We have, let's say, Fifi, and Fifi is 10 years old. Let's say we have Nat, and Nat is 12 years. We have Sally. Sally is, let's say, 10 years. So this you see on the board is data, because it is just the raw thing that I am taking from them. I haven't organized it. I haven't done anything to it. They're just telling me their ages and I'm just putting it down. So something like this is what you call data. So assuming I find out the color they want best or their favorite colors, let's say this one tells me red, this is yellow, let's say another red, let's say blue here, this guy is green, and then this guy, let's say another blue. So this is data. So I am just building up what I have there. But the moment I group this, so let's say now I have two people of the age 13. So the moment I say that, okay, out of the class, two people are of age 13 years, then what I am giving to you is an information. I have processed this data to get something out of it for you. So that's the difference between data and information. So data is a raw thing, usually in a table form like this or in something else. But the information is what the summary of this data will give to you. So one is just a data point, and then when you put everything together, you have the data set. So we are going to use that. Okay. The remaining keywords, we are going to get them as and when we continue. Okay, so I'm going to teach this by way of example. So like I already began saying, not everyone like numbers. So we try to do something to help people who don't like numbers so that they appreciate what is going on. So let's assume the data I was collecting. I went to the class, and then this time around, I asked for their favorite colors. Let's say I sampled just 10 people out of the class, and I asked for their favorite color. So here I have color, and then I have the frequency, or simply put, the number of people. So you see that in the first case, I was just writing blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow. But when I come here, I say this side is red, this is yellow, this is blue, and then this is green. And then we have the total. Okay, so let's say out of the 10 people I sampled, I have 4 people telling me that their favorite color is red. Yellow, let's say 2, green, blue, 3, and then 1 person for red. So here, if I add everything up, I'm going to get 10 here. So now the question is, if I want to put this thing in a picture form, how can I do it? Let's say we want to help those who do not really understand what is happening here. We want to put something in a picture form for them. So the pie chart is one of the ways that we represent these things in pictures. The first thing you must know is that a pie chart is always drawn in a circular form. So pie charts are drawn in a circular form. Okay, so I'm going to illustrate what I have here using some colors. So let's say that we take these 10 students out to the field, and then we let them stand in a circle by arranging them according to colors. So we start with the red guys. So we have one of them here, we have the other person here, we have another person here, and then we have another person here, because there are 4. Then we go to the next one, the yellow. So I have one yellow guy here, I have the other yellow guy here. Okay. The next guy is blue. So here I have blue here, then I have blue here, and I have blue here again. And then the last guy is just green. So the green guy is also here. So now what I'm going to do is that I am going to draw a circle around them. So let's say I start from here, draw this circle. Okay. From this circle, what you must look for is a center. You must locate the center of this circle. So I have, let's say this is my center. Now I am going to draw a boundary around them. So with this green guy, he is just here. Let's say this is his zone. Now with the red guys, they start from here, they move until they get to this side. So we have this, we have that. And then the yellow guys, they are also here. So from the center, I move up to this point. So I have this one too. And then finally, the blue guys are also here. So it means that If somebody does not understand this one, the person can easily picture something like this. And then now, this is easy to visualize because the numbers are few. What if the numbers you are using are more than 10 and they are not as straightforward as these things that you can see? Then how are you going to do that? You cannot do this by hand. So that is how can we bring in the idea of a pie chart and then the process that you have to go through to get to them. Okay. Okay. So like I said, to get a pie chart, you need a circle. So you have your circle. Now the next thing is to divide this circle into sectors. So one of our keywords was sectors. So when we talk of a sector, for every circle we have a center. And then a line that moves from the center to the circumference is called a radius. So if I have this radii, two of them touching the circumference at two different ends, so let's say from here up to here. Let me call this side A, let me call this side B, and this side O. So the angle formed between AOB is what we call the sector. So it means that anytime you want to draw a pie chart, you must get your circle, divide them into sectors, and these sectors are going to represent the quantity of the thing that you are dealing with. So that is what we are going to look at. So the next question is, okay, then how do we calculate these sectors? How do we get them? We must remember some of the properties that we know from angles. And from angles, we are told that the sum of all the angles in a circle is equal to 360 degrees. And that idea is what we are going to use here. So then it means that for each of these variables we have here, each of these numbers here, we must first convert them to fractions and then use those fractions to get the total sector that we are going to cover. The idea here is that we want to bring all these guys to the same denominator. In that case, it is easy to compare because if I have 4/10 and another person have 2/10, and then I ask you which of these two is big, you will definitely see this quickly because they are both having the same denominator. So that is what you are going to do. Because you want to represent the whole of these guys in the same circle, we must first of all give them the same denominator. And that idea of we bringing the same denominator is what makes us have the fractions coming in. So I'm going to rewrite this data, this information here by including the fraction part and then the sectors that they are going to occupy. So once again, okay. So the first one was red. So for red, what was their total number? It was 4. So we put our 4 here. Now we are saying that we want to bring them to the same denominator. We can't choose these numbers to use that. So the best number that we have is the total of all of them because it's the same total which is common to all of them. So the fraction for red is going to be 4 out of 10, which you can simplify as 2/5. Okay. The next one is the color blue. The blue ones They are just 2. So here we have the fraction, which is 2, the same number you have here, divided by the total we have here. So divided by that, and this should give us 1 out of 5. The next color to deal with, oh sorry, this is supposed to be yellow. The next color to deal with is the blue, and they are 3. So if they are 3, then it simply tells us that this is going to be 3 over 10, because we say you always pick the number and you divide by the total. The number over the total, number over total every time. We can't reduce this one further because there is no LCM for 3 and 10. The only LCM we can think of is 1. And then finally we have the green, and their number is just 1. So this gives us also 1 out of 10. Okay, so now you look at the totals. Because this side is a fraction, we have to know that the whole of that fraction is just the number 1. Because anytime you talk about fractions, you know that it is a part of a whole. And we are saying that that whole that we always talk about is just the number 1 when we are dealing with fractions. So this guy gives us 10 as total. If I am to consider this part, this is 4 over 10 plus 2 over 10 plus 3 over 10 plus 1 over 10. Because they have a common denominator, you can simply add the numerators, which gives you 4 plus 2, which is 6, plus 3, which is 9, plus 1, which is 10. So that gives you 10 out of 10, which is equal to 1. So we have it done. Okay, now the last thing on our table is the sectors. So how do we get the sectors? We are saying that the sum of all the angles in this circle is 360 degrees. So if you want a part of it to represent something, all that you have to do is to multiply that fraction of the circle you need by the total sum of angles in there. So it means that the sector for this red color is going to be 2 over 5 times 360 degrees. So this side, you calculate and you see what it will give you. We have 360 here, and we are dividing it by 5. Note that 6 go into 35 7 times, which should give us 35. And then that will give us a remainder of 1. And then when we bring this 0 to this one, 5 into 10 gives us 2. So it means you are going to have 2 times 72 degrees, and that should give us 72 times 2 gives us 4 here and 14 here, so 144 degrees. Then we move to the next slide. That will give us 1 over 5 because that's what we had here. Then we multiply that once again by 360 degrees. And this should give us 1 over 72 degrees because that is what this division gave us. So this should give us 72 degrees. Then we move to the third one. That should be 3 over 10 times 360 degrees. Here we can cancel out these zeros. So we are left with 3 times 36 degrees. So we just calculate 36 times 3. 3 times 6 will give you 18. So you have 8, remainder 1. 3 by 3 is 9 plus 1 gives you 10. So that gives you 108 degrees. And then finally, we have 1 out of 10 times 360 degrees, When we cancel out these zeros again, we just have 1 times of 36 degrees, which is equal to 36 degrees. Okay. So here too, our next challenge is to find out whether these sectors that we have calculated will really total 360 degrees, because that is what we are looking out for. So you just check it before you move on. So we have 144, we have 72, we have 108, and then we have 36. Okay, so this and this gives me 10, this and this also gives me 10, so that's 20. You have 2, 0 remainder 2. If I add these 2 here, that should give me 6. This should give me 13 plus another 3, that's 16. So that gives me 6 remainder 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 1, 3. 360. So I have my total here, 360 degrees. Then I know I am done. Okay. From here, the main tasks begin. The main tasks begin from here. At this point, you will need 2 instruments from your math set. The first one will be a compass, and then the second thing will be your protractor. These 2 guys are what's going to help you come out with your picture. So you first pick your compass, you open to any radius, and then you draw a circle. So let's say from here to here is your radius. Let's move. And you have your circle. Okay. After your circle, your next thing you are supposed to do is to draw just 1 radius anywhere, just 1. So let's say you choose to draw from here to this side. Okay, so now this is your starting point. So the next thing you do is that you put your protractor on this baseline and then you measure your angle. So you put your protractor here and then you start counting. Definitely, for it to be accurate, your 0 mark on your protractor should be on this baseline. And then you start to count. So the first thing you are looking at is the one for red. And then the total angle is 144. So you move, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40. You know, by this time you are at 90 here. And then you continue. So 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 144. Somewhere here. Then you put your mark there. So now you join this point to the center with a ruler. Okay, so now you have this sector and the angle here is 144 degrees, and we are saying that this sector represents color red. Then now you move on. So where you stop now becomes your new baseline. Where you stop becomes your new baseline. So we stop here. So now you move your protractor from this line to this side. You put it on this line at 0 and then you count again. So let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 72. let's say somewhere here. So this is 72 degrees and it represents color yellow. Then now, this is where we stop. So this point where we stop begins a new line for us. And this time around, we are doing for blue and it is 108. So let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and let's say 8, somewhere here. (108 degrees), and this represents color blue. And then finally, the remaining one will definitely give you the remaining one if you are doing it right. So you don't need to measure again because it's already that. And this represents color green. So now we've been able to move from these numbers to something like this. Something nice and beautiful. So that you can say that, oh, because the sector for red is big, it means that the number of people who choose red as their favorite color, they are more than the people having yellow or something like that. Okay. Now we want to challenge ourselves by looking at Ghana's COVID-19 data per regions and then put them into a Venn diagram. So we are going to look at that. We are going to put it in a pie chart. I don't know why I keep on saying Venn diagram today. Okay, so as at yesterday in the evening, this was the information that you have about Ghana's case for COVID-19. So I am going to represent it on region basis and then the number of cases that they have recorded so far. Okay. So as at yesterday in the evening, this was what was our data, the information we have on COVID-19 prevalence in Ghana. So we have here, the data has now been put into a simplified information for us, and then we are taking the 5 main regions which have most cases, and then the others are also put together. So according to the Ghana Health Service, the Ashanti region have recorded 40 cases. The Greater Accra region has reported 329 cases. The Eastern region have 25 cases. The Northern region 10 cases, and all the other regions, when you put them together, they have also reported 4. And then this is their total. So it means that to get a pie chart for it, you must go through the first process that you went through. Only that this time around, I'm moving straight forward here to sectors. I'm leaving out the fractions because you can still get the fractions when calculating these guys, because it's the same thing we did. So here, like we said, the first thing you must look out for is the fractions. And the fractions are just you taking the cases over the total. The cases over the total. So here we have 40 here divided by 408. When we take Greater Accra, that should give us 329 divided by 408. When we take Eastern region, that should give us 25 over 408. And if you take 10, Northern region, that should give us 10 out of 408. And then all the other regions should also give us 4 out of 408. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to multiply these numbers by the total number of angles in a sector, the total angles. So this is 360 degrees. This should also give us 360 degrees. This gives us 360 degrees. Multiply here also by 360 degrees. And finally here by 360 degrees. Now, at this point, all you are left with is with your algebra. So let's see. So from here, we can see that we have 40 and then 408. We can clearly guess that we can divide these guys using the number 4. So here, 4 goes into 40 10 times. And then into 408, goes into the 40 also 10 times, and then into the 8 2 times. Here you can still see that these two guys can still divide. So you pick a number, say 2. So 2 cancel this 5 times, and then 2 goes to this side 5 times, and into 2 1. So now we have simplified the number to this one. So you basically what you are going to multiply here is simply 5 over 51 multiplied by 360 degrees. Okay. So now what should this figure give us? So if we are to work it out, so that we are getting something like 35.3 degrees. You can work towards it, and then we see whether you get the same thing for yourself. And we pick, so this side gives us 35.3 degrees. When you pick this figure, you cannot reduce this guy down. So you just pick whatever is there and you multiply by the 360 degrees, and that should also give you 290.3 degrees. When you pick this next one, the same thing, you have 25 over 408 times 360 degrees, and that should give you 22.1 degrees. And you pick the next guy, that should give you simply 8.5 0.8 degrees. And then finally, the last one should give you 3.5 degrees. Okay. So like I said, every time when you are done calculating your sectors, you are supposed to check to see if your total will give you exactly 360 degrees. If it doesn't give you that, it means you can't represent it in a circle, because the circle you are going to divide should give you 360 exactly. So let's try and see. So we have 290.3 here. We have 35.3. We have 22.1. We have 8.8. And then finally we have 3.5 here. Okay, so let's sound them and then see. So we have 3 plus 3, that's 6 plus 1, 7 plus 8, 15 plus 5, 20. So we have the 2 added to this should give us 7. 7 plus this is 11. 9, sorry, 9. 9 plus this should give us 13. Oh, wait, let me check. So 2 here, 7, 9. 9 plus this should give us 23. 17 plus this, yeah, 20. So that should give us 0, remainder 2. This will give us 11. 11 plus this should give us 14. 14 plus 2 should give us 16. So that's a 6 here, remainder 1. And then 1 plus 2 gives us 3. Okay, so we are on track. So we have 360 degrees as our total. Then we go back to drawing this in a circle form. So because your protractor do not have these decimals written on them, you can just run these numbers to the nearest whole number. So that is what we are going to do. So like I said, the first thing you are supposed to do is to draw a circle of any radius at all. It should just be reasonable. So let's say this is my center, this is my radius. Just go around. I am back. Okay. So now the first thing to draw is to use this one as my base and then start going for them. So here, Ashanti region 35. So I start here 10, 20, 30, 35. Somewhere here. You should get it accurately because you are using a protractor. So make sure you get that. So this is 35 degrees and it represents Ashanti region. Then we move to the next one, which is 290. So this becomes our new base. We start 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So it means the whole of this sector, which is 290 degrees, represents Greater Accra. Okay. Now the next guy is 22. So 10, 20, let's say 22 is somewhere here. Okay. So this sector, which is 22 degrees, will represent the eastern region. And now this small portion here will be divided into 2. So I take this guy here as a northern region, and then this small portion, which is not even up to 5 degrees, is going to represent all the other regions. So when you get this, you will now understand why the president is saying that those in the Greater Accra region and the Ashanti region should be the ones who should be on lockdown. Because if you have a whole lot of these people out of that total coming from the Greater Accra region, and you go and tell somebody in the Western region or somebody in the Volta region to be in the room whilst these Greater Accra people are moving out, then you really don't know what you are doing. So it is out of these calculations and these representations that the president and his cabinet make some of these decisions, because you can see from our diagram we have here that it is just prudent that those here should rather be put in isolation or quarantine. So at least if you don't understand how come you are in Greater Accra and they're telling you to be in your room, whilst those in the Volta region or Ashanti, Western region and all the others are in their room moving about, then this should give you why it is happening. So, okay. So I have just 5 minutes more, so I would take you through, I don't know how many. Okay, let's just do one. This is a BEC question. I think I should be snappy with it so that you know. So this BEC question is just an objective one, so I'm sure we can finish it up very quickly. So there is this Venn diagram, and in the Venn diagram we have okay. So these are the houses that senior high school students are placed in. So you know that when you go to the senior high school, they will put you in some houses. So here, the houses are determined by the colors that they are given to them. So let's say the ones with the red as their jersey, they are represented here as 250. And this is coming from 2007 BC, question number 8 and 9. BC 2007. So the red is that this side we have 70 degrees, and that represents the house with blue as their jersey. And then there is a house here with X degrees, and they are the green house. And then finally we have here 108, which represents the yellow house. Now the questions here are that the first thing you have to find the value of X. So how do we find the value of X? It is simple. We have already told you that the sum of all the sectors in that circle should give you 360 degrees. So here the easy thing to do is to add all these guys, equate it to 360, and find out what X will be. So this gives us 150 degrees from here, plus 70 degrees from here, plus the X degrees from there, plus the 108 degrees, and this should give you the 360 degrees. So summing it, we have this by this to give us 220. So we have 220 here plus 208. That should give us 8 here, 2 and 3. So you take this number from 360. So 360 minus 328, that should give me 2. That should give me 3. So here it simply tells us that X degrees we are looking for is just 32 degrees. And then the next question says that how many more students are in the yellow house than in the blue house? How many more students are in the yellow house than in the blue house? And then they have given us that the total number of students in the school are 360. So total number is equal to 360. So the total number of students in the school are 360. So here to get how many more people are in the yellow house than in the blue house, we simply have to subtract their angles and then when you finish, you multiply by this, and then you'll get that. So the angle difference or the fraction difference should give us 108 minus 70. So this should give us 108, 70. This should give us 8 here and then 3. So that should give us 38 degrees. So now this is the difference that we have between these two guys. But this is in angles, but we are looking for a number. So this time we are looking for a statistic, a number. How many more people are here than there? So 360 degrees simply means 38 degrees means 38 over 360. And then now you multiply that by the number of students, the total number of students. So here the total number is 360. Here it is straightforward because we have the total number being the same as the denominator here. So when you cancel it out, we have 38 people. So we have 38 students. So it means that when you go to the yellow house, there are 38 more students there than there are in the blue house. And this brings us to the end of today's lesson. I will advise that you go through your VC past questions with this idea that you've had. Try doing all the questions that involve pie chart. And if you have any question, feel free to drop it in the comment box and we'll attend to you. Thank you.